Hello there. It's been a little while, hasn't it? I had initially planned to release a third ramble video, but as I got to recording it and talking about my experiences, I realized that the topic of me going into a rank match, or a quick play match, finding somebody who had downloaded me, getting mad that I was losing, and then eventually adapting and overcoming that mental barrier, if not the player, was not exactly unique, and it wasn't something that really needed to go up on the channel. I think that throughout the other rambling videos, I've managed to have meaningful points about plus R or game design or something, or other fighting games in general. But the thing about plus R, when you play it as much as I do, is that you can sort of become numb to a lot of the minutia, and that sort of makes me not want to discuss that minutia. And in this case, the minutia of plus R is getting hit by something that's incredibly stupid and then getting kind of annoyed about it. If you're good, you won't get annoyed, but no matter how good you are, you're going to get hit by something that's kind of stupid. So, for this video, I'm going to be doing a little something different, and I'm going to be doing match review, not exactly analysis, but match review and guided commentary through my last two bracket runs in this online tournament I'm playing in. The tournament itself is called Snowfield, and it's hosted by SnowyMoogle, Moogle as in the thing from Final Fantasy. He's on Twitch at twitch.tv/SnowyMoogle, and he streams most matches. So if you wanted to see me live if you wanted to see much better players than me live, and maybe me if I go far enough in losers, then you can tune in on Sundays. It's at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. So, yeah, there will be links to that stuff in the description. You can read that. You can read it. Come hang out if you want. I don't hang out in Twitch chat because I hate Twitch, but I do appreciate Snowy for putting this on. It's a nice little, small, fairly low stakes environment, but there are still some pretty good players here. Case in point, last week, my first match was against this guy called Blitz. If you've been in the Plus R quick play lobby, you've probably seen Blitz before. He's played like 25,000 games, so when I got matched up against him first round, I figured I would probably be put into losers. Spoiler alert, as you saw, I did go into losers, but I don't think that... Well, my goal in the matchup, or in this particular game, was not to win. It was simply to play the Milia matchup as I understand it from having played it for far too long in Exerd, and just not get completely washed, basically. Put up a fight, so to speak, and I basically did manage to do that. Now, the game is going a little bit too fast for me to talk about every little thing, but I can at least tell you that Blitz tried to stabilize into some really fancy-looking jump-D air dash loops here, but because I don't know how this hit me at all. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, right, okay. Because this hit me at this weird angle and then shifted my hurtbox down, the sort of staircase of jump Ds that he's trying to do didn't quite work. And I got to go onto the ground and at least escape to mid-screen. Just there, you can tell I'm not familiar with the matchup. Very few people play Milia in Plus R. I think a lot of the people who want to play Milia are in Strive now because she's Milia, right? You're not... Like, if you play Strive, you don't know what you're missing out on. Not that you're, like, missing out on a really cool gameplay experience in this game because she's extraordinarily linear. But that's a different topic. Anyway, you can actually punish this with 5p into 2D, and because she recovers crouching from Bad Moon, normally that does not combo for Faust, but here it does combo. Or it would have. I'm not going to go through every little thing, but I just want you to know that that's the level of matchup knowledge I'm at with Milia. Like, I don't know how to punish Bad Moon with my character. That's how little I've played against this character in this game. Yeah, in Exerd I could just use Raven Far Slash into 2D and then just go from there and just set player to death, but it's a bit different in this game. So I mash with Far Slash, which I think was 7 frames of that range. I get a nice little combo, I do a little block string, and Mini Pot's on the field. He's actually the rarest item. 1 in 256 chance, and it's nice to have him. I don't know... Sorry, that 6p was stupid. I tried to throw an item. Sometimes I get that. I have like memory loss, and I just think, oh yeah, I threw an item, it's on the ground, I can throw another, right? That's fine. And then I'm just in the corner, Milia's in her, Omega juiced state. I do enjoy the term win condition. I used to play card games a lot, and the term has a lot of meaning there. But in fighting games, I think it's something that a lot of esports people try to make sound cooler than it actually is. Anyway, Blitz thrashed me to death, yada yada, game 1. Not too much to say about that, aside from the fact that I managed to block a few mix-ups and push him out, and his defense was ever so slightly weaker than I thought it would be. Game 2. Round start is, I just back up and I do 2S. I think I was expecting him to run in, despite what it looks like, 2S is not actually a very good anti-air for Faust. Thank you, Faust Hurtbox. I would hate to have to... I would hate to be able to go under this anti-air move, wouldn't I? I'm really... That's another thing about Milia. She's tiny. I'm really, really surprised that this did not hit her. Bomb is active for like 12 frames or something. I thought I pushed her into it, and that's why you can see me not cancel Far Slash. If I had gone into 2K here, which is my Gatling option off of Far Slash, or 5H, I think I would have gotten hit by the bomb. Anyway. I try to go for a jump in there, but he susses me out with 6P, gets a nice combo, wall to wall. Doesn't quite work on Faust, somehow. I thought he'd get hit by 6P there, or 2S, whatever. I screw up my dust combo because I didn't really truly believe in it. And I get counter hit by 6H. And throw. Yeah, that's a... There, that sequence is a prime example of what I find... I won't say, like, aggravating, because it's Milia and everything about her is aggravating, but what I find, like, kind of unfortunately linear and one-dimensional about her in this game. So she does jump H, sorry, jump H, air dash cancel, jump H, and then jump 2H, and that's the helicopter, as we call it. And that just knocks down from basically any height. I think there's technically some minimum level of height where it won't knock down, sorry, maximum level. But functionally, it's going to knock down. And she just gets to do that anywhere, you know, like whatever. And there, she did it way too early as part of a block string, but she can special cancel it into pin and just keep herself plus, so it doesn't really matter, you know? And then there's Force Break, Secret Garden, just in case the original Secret Garden wasn't aggravating enough. I'm teching for my life here. I tried to do an FD break there, but I got dive kick instead. I get a teensy bit of pressure, go for the gutsy 6H. Doesn't quite work. Now he air dashes over me and throws the pin. The life is not actually as bad as it looks, because you saw it was, what, 2 hits? Yeah, really, like, don't worry about the life total. It's really all about positioning and other resources. And the reason I did not burst there is because I thought he might get hit by the bomb or be forced to block it, but he had enough jump juice left in the tank that he could just jump up and finish the combo and kill me. So, that was losing round 1 to Blitz. It went about... the result was what I expected, but the gameplay was a little bit less bad than I thought it would be. You know, you see somebody with 25,000 games roll up, and especially Milia, and you figure, okay, I'm just going to lose and I'm just going to get set played to death. But it doesn't always happen. Sometimes you guess right. Game 2, I'm up against Probably Lurking, who is playing Axel. I've played the Axel matchup a little bit in +R. It's kind of strange. Axel is a pretty rare character in Exert, and he's very different from how he works in Strive. In this game, he's more like a long-range, kind of annoy-you-to-death character, with big damage, rather than the sort of dedicated zoner archetype that he is in Exert and Strive. I try to pick up with 5k there, it doesn't quite work. Yeah. So this matchup it's not as, like, good for Faust as you might expect, because Faust is just, like, the better character. Because Axel's defense and his damage output are, like, way better than Faust's. I try to jump out of a multi-hit low there, I don't know why. Yeah, so... And the fact that Axel can just always challenge or always punish item throw means that it's actually surprisingly difficult to pollute the screen with Faust and access your normal zoner inevitability that you just get because you picked Faust on the character select screen. Yeah, like at this range I'm backing up because I don't want to get hit when throwing an item. I do 2H and then he hits me out of my 2H with an anti-air. That's the sort of thing that can happen against Faust. And then I throw a donut and all that work is just for nothing. Although sometimes I get something that's really active like coin, and that's very nice. Counter hit, force break door. Gives me a combo. I don't know why it does that. Anyway, there's one thing that you might notice about probably lurking is that he likes to push buttons. I'll say. I won't say he's like dumb or anything. It's just this man likes to go in, right? And so that's what I did with that pogo into forward pogo. That's if I time it properly, that's a very, very small gap. If you're frame perfect, it's a 1 frame gap, but it's very good against people who just like to go in. And I have to thank him for jumping into that hammer or dumbbell or whatever it was, and for running into these jump H's and getting stunned, and giving me this juicy, juicy unskilled combo. And I'm just doing some very basic pressure here, screwing up my inputs, all good. That was actually a nice dash break by him. And yeah, so in the first round, I was expecting him to be a little more passive, and he just was very, very aggressive. And in the second and third rounds, I just sort of chilled out a little bit, tried to take fewer commitments, and it worked out for me. And the second game, I believe, is more of the same. Yeah, I just try going for the little gimmick with Pogo there, because you can actually do stuff while you're on Pogo. You have a low and an overhead. It's a mix-up stance. If people don't know the matchup, it can sort of hit them with stuff. Or rather, you can get a little bit of mileage out of it. Probably spends all of his meter on FRC into throw there. Back when I was in the corner, like a million interactions in like 5 seconds ago. Anyway, there was briefly a meter difference between us, but it's sort of evened out now. I think that he overcorrected there to be really, really defensive because he saw the mini Faust and got a deer in the headlights kind of reaction. But that's why I did the 6H. Yeah, and there's that ground flower again. There's me screwing up my instant overhead attempt and doing it again. I think I tried to do it again, but I got hit out of jump startup. 2S is a very... Sorry, I want to highlight something. 2S is an extremely strange button from Faust. So it starts up in like 8 frames. I think this is the startup. Or I guess not, it's... Yeah, so to be about this is the first hitbox. And then it's active for an extremely long time, and the hitbox is very accurate to Faust's tongue. So I go through like 10 active frames or so, and then it's disjointed above his head, and Axel runs into it here. Normally this does not happen. Normally this move is just combo and block string fodder, and Faust's other anti-airs are better. But it is a pretty rewarding starter if you're ready for it, and I was not here. So I try to do my 5k, doesn't quite work. He gets a throw, doesn't quite work. I do slap chop, you know. And now he catches onto my 6Hs and he's doing his guard point. And I don't know exactly why he got hit there. There was a bomb on the other side of the screen. I wasn't doing anything particularly crazy. I mistimed my 2k, it's all good. And force break door. Can we give it up for force break door? Thank you very much. Keep in mind how much I like force break door as we go into the games with Soup here. You can see that there are 3 of them, and I'll tell you it's the end of my run, but, you know, it's a little bit more interesting than just me losing, because if you've never played against Dizzy in +R, you might expect her to be like a... You might expect her to, like, not be... Well, you might expect her to, Sorry, something stupid has already happened. You'll see what I mean about Dizzy. You might expect her to be designed by, like, sane people, and she's not. You'll see. I actually do Pogo here, but because Pogo does the backwards lean attack first and then the forwards lean attack, I hit the fish behind me, and the combo drops. So that was pretty nice, right? I made the right decision, and I ran at Dizzy, and instead of getting a full combo, you know, I whiffed an attack and she got to escape because she made a decision, and I correctly read that decision and I punished it. That's pretty interesting, right? Man, it would be a shame if that kept happening, wouldn't it? So I stay on the Pogo trying to gimmick him out because I'm just an asshole. Did mental input lag with that skewer. Anyway, throw, yada yada. And at this point, I'm just trying to keep him out and try to keep him pinned down with jump H, but he gets a good opportunity to set up the fish here, and I'm just blocking. Not too much to say about this, it's usual Dizzy stuff. I block that jump in, so I actually get to throw her. Good FD. I get to drop my combo because Dizzy's a lightweight. I try to... Force break door, I trusted you. Force break door, I trusted you, and this is how you repay me? Never mind. Never mind what I said a minute ago about force break door. So I get a bit of a block string going, I get some items and screen control. I pick up that chocolate, actually. It's really nice to pick up the chocolate. And he goes over top of me. And I wish I could tell you what, like, his decision-making process is, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't have one. Because, you know, you put, like, 3 projectiles on the screen and I can't interact with them. And you can actually punish that. The ice spike is like... The ice spike is like... It's at least -10. I'm sure I can punish that with Far Slash. It's extremely minus. Anyway, he takes the round. I spike it round start. Gets me. I'm looking for a good opportunity to explain exactly how our fish works, because you gotta understand how the fish works in order to understand why this matchup is so painful. That was actually a decent examination of what the fish forces me to do, so let's look at that. So, I hit her, and I drop my combo, yada yada, lightweight problems. I drop my Gatlings of KSH. Damn, Faust is a hard character. So he decides to set up in the corner, which I don't expect. I expect him to move. So I jump and it's like, oh, he set up. Okay. Now what? Well, he's got the fish out and he probably put lasers in it. Because when you summon the fish, it has 5 different attacks. 2 are lasers and 3 are bites. And you can choose 2 of them. And it'll do one and then the other. So I figure it's probably lasers, and he's moving forward with the laser, right? So I try to jump out, and it was a laser. It usually is. And I think, okay, this should be like a decent trajectory for Bomb Bag. And I do, and it works out perfectly. And now I'm coming down on top of Dizzy, and if he had... What did he do here? He did Close Slash? I don't know what that was. Maybe it was meant to be 2S? Basically, I want to point out that although it might look like things are pretty good for me because I destroyed the fish and I'm hitting this guy with a jump in, I think that this was kind of a dangerous situation for me and I lucked out because if he had air thrown me, I wouldn't have really been able to do anything about it. And if he had done 2S, it probably would have beat this jump in. So I would chalk up my escaping this situation to him making a mistake rather than me doing something good. And that's the kind of thing that happens when Dizzy summons fish once. So keep that in mind. I try to anti-air jump 2S. Classic mistake, you just can't anti-air that button. I summon a little mini army, and I know that he's going to go over top of it, so I try to hit him with jump H. I get 1 hit, doesn't quite work. I do a really stupid jump S, or S teleport door. The fish disappeared off screen behind me. Fortunately, it did not, I don't know what it was doing, but it did not feel like turning around. And I take the round. Here's another classic example of fish and all the reasons I like it. And it's like a fun and interactive gameplay mechanic because you saw, basically as soon as the round started, I knew that he would be running away, so I was looking for it. And once I see him do that, I run and I jump at him and I use a big old jump normal. And he had committed to something that has like a lot of recovery. And because he committed to it, therefore it was safe because the fish is protecting him from my jump in. And I don't know that the jump in would have hit necessarily. It's not quite reaching him, but like I'm actually stuck in place in the air because of this, and he gets Far Slash into like Ice Spike. Okay, nothing. So that's like another fun use case of fish where I was looking for what he was going to do with it. And I knew that he was going to do it, and I punished it, and I was actually unsafe because I attempted to punish it. Really fun, really interesting gameplay mechanic, fish. Gotta hand it to the +R designers. Hit him out of the start up there, so the fish didn't come out. Now I'm in the corner blocking laserfish, and I try to do a mindless bomb bag, but he hits me with the icicles from downtown. The ice daggers, I mean. and he just gets hit by Robokai. I don't know why he got hit by that. Force break door. One last thing. You saw me back up here. I did a block string. If this fish, what I think he put 2 H's in it, so like 2 lasers. If I had not, if I hadn't backed up and given up my pressure and committed to this, like doing this 2K on the other side of the screen, I'm pretty sure the fish would have turned around and shot me with a laser. So, yeah, and I think like that whole thing makes me commit to enough stuff in neutral that he gets in and kills me. So, he wins the first game. Nothing too crazy, right? It's the Dizzy matchup. That's not too bad, right? Throughout the rest of these games, now that I've sort of explained how fish is, or sort of given you an idea of why I truly, truly despise fish, try to keep an eye on our damage, because Dizzy's damage output, for whatever reason, is just, like, monumentally high. And Faust is... I mean, it's pretty good. Faust has a pretty good damage output, I'm not gonna lie. But I think it's a little more conditional than Dizzy's is. See, this was a juicy 6H starter. So, I didn't quite throw him, but yeah. Yeah, that was spaghetti. That was so bad. I expected... I don't know. Well, I hit him and I stunned him. And I wanted to do 6H into Pogo. I wanted to... Well, I'll show... Well, no, I won't show you. You can imagine. I wanted to kill him. And I got the throw instead. And I just go for the items here, and I actually give him food. Unfortunately, he runs into... Fortunately, he runs into a hammer, and then he sits still and twitches in a block string, and I kill him. That wasn't actually a combo, he just wasn't blocking for whatever reason. Yeah, that's jump 2S, that big scythe thing. It's very difficult to anti-air. Well, it's basically impossible to anti-air. This is another instance of force break door not working out for me. I know I said I wasn't going to go into every little interaction, but for this one, there's a hitbox on the ice dagger as it's forming, and Faust extends his hand right into it. So instead of hitting Dizzy, I actually get counter hit. That kind of sucks. The force break door is, I mean, it's useful. Surely it is useful, but it's not as good as you might think. Also, that fish was lasering me from 3/4 of the way across the stage off screen where I couldn't see it and had no idea what it was doing. Another just real fun thing about fish, you know? Arguably, I shouldn't have gone for this air combo route, because you don't ever want to give Dizzy the chance to run away from you, because if you do, she'll just set up again. Poison is nice, but it's not quite what I wanted right there. Mini Faust is good. It's a hitbox all on the ground. That was extreme spaghetti. I think at the end of there, I was trying to do 5k anti-air and then combo into dive kick for some reason. Or maybe I was expecting him to block the jump, or block when he was jumping in. I'm not sure. Whatever. It looked like a sick throw bait, so I'm going to call it that. Or you can choose to believe that I was not actually a sick throw baiter. It's your choice, dear viewer. Final game here. I try to jump. I get a nice little jump in. Don't quite combo off of it. Again, Dizzy summoned the fish, so now she just gets to mindlessly approach no matter what you do. I spend my burst. I think this was really the mistake that cost me, because, as I said, pay attention to Dizzy's damage. She does an absurd amount of damage. Like, from basically the same block string, like, all of her moves do so much damage, and I don't know why it is. Yeah, like, that nearly killed me, so now I have to play this full-screen zoning game, and I couldn't have done anything about that block string because of the threat of the fish off-screen. I'm not sure. No, I'm pretty sure it only attacked once. I'm pretty sure it would have attacked a second time. Assuming that he put 2 lasers into it, which, of course, I can't know, right? You don't see it here because this is just a replay file. At this exact moment in the game, a really bad rollback spike happened. And on my screen, when I went for this air throw, he was on the ground and had missed his tech. But I knew that because of the way he had been teching earlier, that he would not, and that he would tech out, so I went for the air throw on the tech and I got it. And in my, like, I actually rolled back into that. Unfortunately, I don't have the recording, so I can't show you, but you'll have to take my word for it. It did affect both of us, though, so at least it wasn't too bad. Yeah, see? So there's the fish, lasering me from off screen. Can't see it, don't know what it's going to do. Hit Dizzy. Fish interrupts the combo. Man, this character is something, isn't she? I think I go for a gold burst there, but the fish eats it. And then he just does air dash in, jump 2S. Yeah, not too much to say there. I'm not too comfortable in the Dizzy matchup, and because she's a very versatile character whose basic mechanics shut off a lot of neutral and set play, I was not too comfortable fighting her. So that was that made me a little bit salty, but overall it was a pretty fun tournament run, and I played pretty well, so I was happy with myself. So this is the beginning of week 2's bracket. It occurs to me that seeing all the results ahead of time probably made last week's a little bit less interesting than it could have been. So for this one, I'm just going to let the matches play out one at a time, and we can talk about them in detail while we're waiting for them. Viken is she's one of the reasons why I don't actually like want to take this game seriously, and you'll kind of see why. But I think the matchup is actually okay for Faust, simply because her like brain dead degenerate thing is fairly easily bypassed by Faust. So that's her brain dead degenerate thing right there. She acted out of block stun at the end of that block string, right there again. And it's like, basically, you can use like 2 moves against her, and if you do anything that isn't a mix-up, and most characters don't have mix-ups in their block strings, she's just going to guard cancel out of it. No resource, no meter, no particularly hard execution, and she gets to act out of block stun, actually act out of hit stop, like that, and basically just punish you. And she gets really, really, really good combos off of that, so it's not nothing. Fortunately, my opponent is playing a little bit too reactively, a little bit too passively, and he lets me farm items, and I take the round with an item throw and a hammer. He bursts immediately, because who doesn't want to burst, honestly? Yeah. This, I think, is a prime example of why air dashers can sometimes look impenetrable if you're not used to them. But, like, realistically, although we're jumping around a lot, there's not really a ton going on that's, like, actually very difficult to deal with. You saw, he was moving around a lot, but I don't think he was moving with purpose. And I was not moving very much, but I was moving with purpose. And so I was able to intercept him, get some counter hits, and I got that gigantic combo in the corner, which did a ton of damage because Viken has pretty low health. I didn't even finish that combo, and I got like almost 30% on her. Pretty good. Unfortunately, I threw her the Chikawa there, which means she has a lot of, well, she has a max tension pulse, which sucks. I go for the instant overhead there, and I actually do it. And I don't know what he did, but it got hit by the drill. This was an intentional, unblockable, blowing both of ourselves up. I really just wanted to reduce her life total to 0, and I was willing to make the symmetrical trade there. And I get a bit cheeky and go for Slap Chop, because I don't think he's going to cover Slap Chop. There's a bomb, and he, he's advancing a little bit, but not like doing so incredibly threateningly. And then he backs off again, lets me farm another item, hits the poison, and I'm fine with this, right? You're taking damage and I don't have to do anything? Sounds pretty good, bro. Yeah, and so again, when you see a big obvious mid like that, Viken's guard cancels are incredibly, incredibly good at dealing with that. That 6H was a little ambitious on my part. I'm sorry. I had to go in for the throw there, I got mashed out. That combo wasn't really that scary, but he bursts because he doesn't want to die. I screw up my Gatlings. Faust is a hard character, guys. And then I see him sort of walking back and forth and trying to play full screen footsies way outside of his range, and I just do Force Break Door. Can we give it up for Force Break Door? Let's give it up for Force Break Door. Next game is against a Potemkin player called Blackheart. He has like 25,000 games played. I think I've seen him once or twice in the quick play lobby, but I've never played against him. So, the old Mega Fist. And I decided to start blocking here, just not even any kind of particular blocking, to see how long it's going to be until he potbusters me. And I actually crack before he potbusters me and I try to jump out. So that was something I kept in mind, like I wasn't, I wasn't going to jump out of potbuster and then I get potbustered. That's life, isn't it? And I know that every Potemkin player on the face of the earth wants to tech forward and do jump D after a knockdown, or sorry, a situation like that. So I tried to do jump H there, didn't quite work. Pardon me, did not quite work. In the meantime, he got all sorts of pressure off of that, and we're back to the usual Potemkin stuff, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do more often. This matchup is a lot less set play focused than a lot of others in Plus R, simply because, like, the reward for Faust guessing right on Potemkin when you're performing Okizeme is you get a little bit of damage and screen control like that. Sorry, I mean, like, if I'm Faust and I'm attempting to apply Okizeme to Potemkin, it's very easy for him to do something that will kill me if I guess wrong. There are ways that you can cover this, but I haven't practiced them. And if Potemkin ever gets in on you, you are liable to lose gigantic chunks of your life. And considering Faust's good but not directly challenging defense, this can be particularly annoying. So a lot of the matchup is determined in the mid-range. And the thing about Potemkin in this game is that he's just a lot larger than he looks. I know that sounds silly. I personally find it very difficult to deal with him, or very difficult to anticipate where he's going to be, simply because he's so large, and I'm worried about buttons like far slash, 5H, and jump S. But you know, at this point, I tried to jump out of the potbuster, I got block stringed, and then he does a potbuster because I was sitting still. That was unfortunate at the end there. So he does Hammerfall, and my brain sees this and says, oh, okay, he's unsafe, I can do that. And he FRCs it, which is good. That's a good thing to do. And then he goes for far slash, I guess? Maybe he thought it was close slash. But because I thought it was unsafe, I was mashing. And I get 5P, RS, which is the only thing I could have gotten there. And then 5H, which just whiffs. And then he does Hammerfall again, and I die. I'm pretty sure there, I'm not going to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure I could have just done 5P 2S 2D, and it would have just worked. Then again, 2S is notoriously unreliable for comboing at distance. It doesn't really matter. So, game 2. Not too much to say that I could have done differently, just guess better, don't get put in the corner by Potemkin. You know, the usual stuff. And he does Mega Fist, and I block at that time. Instant block even, and I punish it. Yeah, and I try to go in for a very cheeky jump in, just get anti-aired. That's the thing about Potemkin, it's like, you know, you put him away, but he's never, like, completely out of the fight, because he's got stuff he can do. I could have just done 5k there and extended the combo, but I wasn't sure if he would get hit very cleanly by the mini Potemkin. I think I baited his Potemkin, or Heavenly Potemkin Buster with the FD break there, which I was very happy about. My goal here is just to not go in as much if I don't have to. And I know that sounds silly, I was dive kicking at him, but my goal is basically just stay at this range where I can abuse jump H and my anti-airs and just like, not, because I know that he's fiending for the slide head, like there. So I just want to not give him that opportunity. And I traded with him, at least in damage, so, you know. And at this point he's blocking all that stuff. Yeah. So that was pretty sketchy. I think I could have killed him off of the meteors, actually, but, you know, I got the round at least. I'll take it. Yep, potbuster. I'm curious. Yeah, I was not holding up. Okay. Sometimes I hold up and it feels like I do. Nice potbuster, jackass. Pardon me, I'm sorry, I'm mean. Yeah, that's a Potemkin round. So despite what it might look like, I do actually enjoy the Potemkin matchup, mostly because he's a character who extremely hyper specializes, but is overall not like completely brain dead in like every way, which a lot of plus R characters are, honestly, including Faust. Like, I never feel like really bad about getting beaten by Potemkin, because basically everything he does is either a read or I'll go back to that, is either a read or some kind of pressure that he had to work for. And here, I think he just has a read on me. Yeah, he just walks up, does 6p because he knows I'm just going to mindlessly slap chop, and he gets a nice combo off of that. Decides to go for the damage, which is fine. You still get good Oki. Messes up his Hammerfall break, it's all good. And then he does 6k, because heaven forbid the grappler not have a fast overhead that leads to a full combo. Yeah, I lose 2 out of Blackheart. Nothing fancy. I expected to lose. But it was still good to play him, and I took a round, so I'm happy. Round 3, I'm playing against Soup, who was the guy that knocked me out last week. My goal this time is, now that I have a better understanding of his habits and the matchup, just not to make the same stupid decisions and just not panic as much when Fish is on the screen. Fortunately, Poison bailed me out there at the start of the round, and that was such a messy dive kick, I don't even know what happened. Yeah, so like, I managed to snipe the fish, it's all good. But he's got me in the corner now. Challenge fish, it's all good, and the Robokai hits him. I think I could have gotten a better combo there, but whatever. I was actually pretty proud of that cross under anti-air, but that's in the past now. And you'll also notice, because I'm not wasting all of my meter on mindless force break doors, although I am getting counter hit from off-screen by fish, I have a lot more meter to spend on stuff. If this hadn't killed, I could have gone into item super, or I could have spent meter on the force break to make it kill. Or rather, if I thought it wasn't going to kill, I could have done the force break. Yeah. I'm using force break door. Well, I said I was using it a little more judiciously, but I'm still using it, you know? Yeah. And that's game 1. Not too much to say. Going into game 2, I feel pretty good. Those were 2 pretty convincing rounds, and I was happy both in how I played and in how I managed the matchup. People talk about Plus R a lot as a game with a lot of minutia, and not just minutia in terms of getting hit by stupid things, but they talk about it as a game with a lot of numbers that you need to learn, and that's somewhat true, but it's also not really true to play the game. I mean, I'm not particularly good at it, but I think I'm doing well enough for myself, considering that I just don't care about frame data at all. Thank you, Faust2k, for both being an anti-air and a low that's actually lingered a lot because of the fish, so I guess thank you, fish. Thank you, Faust Jump H, for being Faust Jump H. But to go back to what I was saying about Plus R, the game's only as complicated as you want it to be. So if you're like me, or honestly like this guy, we don't know what frame data is, we don't know what's plus and minus, we know that there's stuff on the screen, and we know that there's ways to deal with it. We know that we can instant air dash at people, right? Like, there's basic stuff, and then you can rely on that basic stuff pretty well. And, like, you see us crossing each other up and just doing stuff all the time, and it's just, like, very difficult to account for everything, because the characters are so, not even powerful, it's just they have a lot of stuff that they can do, and all that stuff is pretty relevant. I was actually very proud of myself getting that corner in the corner combo without getting interrupted by the fish. I was proud of myself for not getting block stringed to death by the fish. Yeah, and that hit me out of jump startup, I believe. Pretty good round otherwise. I fed her 25 meter, that sucks. Yeah, just trying to run some safe pressure here, and finally he sits down for a little bit so I get damage. I try to throw the tech this time, and I had the right idea, but I guess my timing was a bit wrong. Force Break Thor lets me down again. Gotta stop relying on him. He's a kind of unreliable, you know? And that Black Beat combo kills. You hate to see it. I mean, unless you're me, you love to see it. You beat a Dizzy, you beat the guy that beat you last time, and it was a Black Beat combo, so you can say, damn bro, guess you just gotta learn the matchup. Speaking of matchups that I haven't learned, my fourth round was against Burrito, and he and Soup were talking a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're like internet friends or whatever, but you know, he was saying he would avenge Soup and the fact that I beat Soup. So he comes on pretty strong here. Does the usual Melia stuff. That's Haircar FRC, I think. I don't know. My goal with Melia in all situations is purely just not to get completely overrun by her, and at least do a little bit of blocking and defense, which I do actually. Gold Burst, I don't even know, man. And so, one difference between this guy and Blitz, the guy that I played at the beginning of the first week, is that he's doing combos that are a little less reliable. He seems to be OTGing me a bit more, and if I was a little more aware of that, I think I could have escaped once or twice. But then he does some stuff like this that's perfectly clean, does exactly what it needs to be. It does exactly what it needs to, I mean. And I'm in the Melia blender, and he just has to, he's going for not the fanciest jump D loops, but they're pretty fancy. I decided to spend my burst there. I don't really know why. I kind of had to, right? Yeah. So that, if you look at my input history, you can see 6KS. That was me attempting to block his meaty and then dead angle. But he jumped straight up, neutral to bait, presumably reversal super, or whatever I was doing, including dead angle. So, good play on his part. That is one thing about these types of pixie characters that I absolutely hate. And I always seem to play characters who exacerbate this problem, like Faust and Raven, and to a lesser degree Sin. The characters just get so much, I would say, mental neutral and mental frame advantage from running around, because there's so many places they can be, that I feel extremely pressured to do something on defense, because if I don't, the aggressor just gets to approach, and that's bad, right? Like, I can never, ever, ever allow the aggressor to approach. So that's why you see me doing these, like, really stupid far slashes and just not, like, moving around very much. Because I'm just so worried and mentally rattled about, like, everything that could go wrong. I do use an FD break to go above him there. Don't punish the burst. I think that was another case of 2P getting hit by nearly a 6P. Because heaven forbid my low poke not get hit by an anti-air. That's what I said before, same thing. That's what I think every time I get hit by 2P out of anything, really. Or I get hit out of anything when I'm doing... I get hit by anything when I do 2P. I get hit by everything when I do 2P. Yeah, unfortunately that wasn't even a combo at the end. I guess I should practice the matchup, eh? And I went for 2D there because I thought he was going to do a stagger run in. Unfortunately, he jumped, and he got a nice jump in. Nice air throw, honestly. That was very clean. So that was me just sort of desperately hoping, maybe he won't block the 6H, maybe he's kind of asleep at the wheel. Unfortunately for me, he was not, and he gets this nice little combo. My items are not the best, I gotta say. I've given him meter, I've given him donuts. I've got a couple of bombs that haven't really done anything. And now I'm guessing for game, and I guess wrong, and I die. Which puts an end to my tournament run, sadly. Good games to Burrito, he played well, and I need to learn that matchup. I honestly, when I got paired up against Soup, I was really, really concerned, but it's all good. I beat him. The Dizzy threat has been vanquished until next week. So, we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, good games to everybody I played, but especially to Burrito. I think he was probably the most human, I guess, of all the people I played. Aside from Blackheart, who was just like way, way better than me. I could tell what Burrito was trying to do. Now that I'm looking at it, I could tell what he was trying to do. And I could tell what his goals were in the matchup. And I could tell why he beat me. Whereas I think with Soup, there's so much noise when you fight Dizzy that it can be difficult to sort of cut through that and actually get to the player. I got like, I had that moment maybe once when I played her. With Burrito, I felt like there was a little bit more of that happening. It's just that it was happening at such a faster pace for him than it was for me. I had actually meant to upload only the first 2 weeks of this, but so much time passed between the recording of this and my editing of it that, well, a week passed and I have another week's worth of videos. I just had a really fun experience, so I figured I'd transfer some of that enthusiasm to my narration, and we'll go through my matches. So my first match, which was on stream, was against Soup, who was the Dizzy player that I had told you about. And I'm actually really proud of how I've adapted to fighting him. Not because I'm like, you know, eager to learn the Dizzy matchup, because I don't think anybody is eager to learn the Dizzy matchup, but because I've identified some of his habits as a player, and that has allowed me to play neutral a lot more mindfully and make decisions a lot more, with a lot less fear. So normally, that whole thing that just happened in the corner with me getting screwed over by the bombs, not the bombs, by the Force Break Icicle, that would have cost me a lot more if I'd been in the mental state I had been in when I played him the first time. Very good by him to get around that mini Faust. And I just do 5k there to kill the fish, and then he's doing some nonsense in the air, so I just take him out. I don't know what button Dizzy came down with. I think that was jump H. Again, there. Just surgical 5p, avoid the icicle. Yes, it's stupid that these moves work the way they do, but it's okay. You can block a little bit, you can just avoid them, it's fine. I actually screw up my combo there. Fortunately, it doesn't quite cost me the round. I decide to spend my burst here. Bit of a dicey situation, but he commits to Ice Spike and gives me all the time in the world. I'm just blocking. I'm just avoiding the Force Break Ice Dagger. Avoiding it again. And I just run up, casual, meaty, low, no big deal. Round 2, nothing much to say. I just had the same approach, which is don't make stupid decisions, don't panic when you get put into block stun, that kind of thing. That was a little bit weird. I'm not sure why Jump K missed both him and the fish. Yeah, Tech Trap with Jump K, or with 5k. He decides to use a Force Break Ice Dagger. I just get some plus frames, do a frame trap, and then do an overhead from 3/4 of the screen away. Fair and balanced character. It's reactable, 25 frames. That Gatling right there that I got into Jump H was actually really useful, because it helps to have the additional output of getting Jump H at the end of your combos against Dizzy. Because I'm not used to getting the Jump H against lightweights like her, but for whatever reason, because of her air hurt box, you do actually get to reliably combo from Gatlings into Jump H. Patented Faust hurt box. I do an FDC there over the Ice Spike. Unfortunately, I'm not really in a position to punish. Again, patented Faust hurt box. I think I throw the items here just to see what I get. It's actually 3 pieces of chocolate, which is actually like kind of terrible. And at this point, I'm again just reminding myself, don't panic. Exactly, just move out of the way, anti-air him, done. 2-0, happy about that. If you don't recognize the name, this is Jason Riot, who was recently the subject of a, I hesitate to call it scandal. It was just some guy on Twitter got like really mad that he kept losing to Jason, and that Jason was like saying mean things on the internet. So therefore, he figured that Jason must be cheating and he must be using macros. This is, of course, nonsense. Jason's actually just that good, which you can see there. Yeah, I'll let the Sidewinders speak for themselves. And at this point, I just trust my chances of winning to the whims of fate. And they betray me, unfortunately. And I decide to hold my burst for the next round. Oh, on Steam, by the way, Jason has like 20,000 games played or something. Like, it's some ludicrous number. I'm a bit disappointed that Hammer didn't hit him out of Gunflame. But if there's one thing I've learned about Soul, it's that he actually never gets hit out of Gunflame. The reason why I get clipped by some of these jump-ins, which don't actually look that threatening, is because I'm trying to work the 6P plus H throw option select. It's actually pretty good with Faust. I'm just not doing it properly. Yeah, I don't know why that help keeps popping up. That's annoying. Anyway. Yeah, so the 6PH throw OS is very nice with Faust because of his otherwise pretty mediocre defensive options. I do a nice safe jump here. He actually gets hit by the coin. And I get a little bit frisky on the Pogo? Yeah. And I punish the Bandit Bringer here. He tries to slash back, mistimes it slightly. Yeah, like right there, that was another 6PH throw option select from me. Didn't time it properly, just got hit. I thought that was another wild throw, which is why I tried the mash and got counter hit. Yeah. If you're used to playing Exerd, I mean, if you're used to playing Strive Faust, then this whole thing just doesn't really look like Faust. But if you're used to playing Exerd Faust, and you haven't played plus R for whatever reason, then the plus frames off of the dive kick can feel kind of inconsistent, or they might look that way. Because the dive kick is... it's just a plus in both games, but for whatever reason, because of character hurt boxes and fall speed and everything, I find that it's a lot more difficult to actually use the plus frames in plus R than it is in Exerd. Also, Jason completely thrashed me. He's really good. And now for an example of a Soul player who is a little less crazy, a little less cracked out and goated with the sauce than Jason Riot, Uber Pasta. He's pretty new. I think this was his first event, and I appreciate him coming out because we need new blood. Even in an old, crusty game like this, it's important to have new players. So I'm trying to just take it easy against him, just do basic things. Let my items win neutral for me. Punish the burst. I get a little cheeky on the pull here. And I also drop my combo. You know, it's funny, I was actually playing against a completely different Soul. He was not in this bracket, he was just some net play Soul from Brazil. And I was playing against him before this bracket started, just as practice. And he was doing sort of the opposite of what Uber Pasta is. Uber Pasta is like way too worried. Or I can tell that he's focusing on playing correctly and not making mistakes. And this other guy was the complete opposite, had no respect for human life or human dignity or anything. And therefore, like people like that are really good against me. I'm really bad at adapting to people and shutting down their gimmicks and everything. I go for a sort of slow overhead there. But against somebody like Uber Pasta, who's actually respecting me too much, I'm pretty good. Panic, late Roman cancel there. I don't know how that drill worked against Grand Viper. Like, I really genuinely have no idea. Most of the time, I think Faust tends to extend his hurt box into the ground and get hit by Grand Viper. That was supposed to be a wild throw on his part, and Uber Pasta, if you're watching this, I know that was supposed to be a wild throw, and I sympathize. Probably what happened is that he did run up, so 6-6, and then he input the 6-2-3K, and then he released K while his stick was going back to neutral, and that gave him a 5K negative edge input, which will not appear on the input interpreter. Because with inputs like that, it's actually very, very easy to go from 3+ button to 6 plus button, or plus button release, and then back to neutral. That happened a lot with Kai when I was playing Kai. You would try to do Vapor Thrust and you'd get Stun Edge instead. So it's important just to hold your stick into the 3 position when you finish something that actually ends with a 3 input. Normally I wouldn't mash with 2S in that situation, but I got the impression that he was going to try to run up, and I just wanted something that would be really active. I'm getting a bit frisky now and just running forward at round start, and he gets a bit of damage. And I screw up my bomb, but this is Guilty Gear, so I have a 0-frame throw. Yeah, like, that's what I was talking about with the dive kick. So one of the nice things about Faust is that he has this fast overhead. I'm not doing it as fast as you can. You can do it at like half this height. But if you do it and then jump cancel it into the kick, or the dive kick, you can actually be plus on the way down. Unfortunately, the dive kick has... Or that's the first frame it starts moving. The dive kick has 18 frames of block stun and I believe 6 frames of landing recovery. Yeah, it does. So the maximum it can possibly be is 1 frame of the dive kick, 6 frames of landing recovery for 7. The max it can possibly be is plus 11. And I travel downward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So this was actually minus because I was so high up on Soul's face. And so when he mashes 2H here, I'm trying to do some kind of nonsense and I just get hit. Yeah, you really need to hit with the dive kick around your opponent's knees when you want it to be plus. That's a bit of a risky burst there, but I kind of knew that Uberpasta would not be doing the very good like burst safe combo routes, so I figured it was okay. Now I'm just taking the bombs to set up the bomb. Set up Pogo. Be a little cheesy on the Pogo. Faust, I don't know why you're doing close slash in the opposite direction. Faust, I really don't know why you're doing close slash in the opposite direction. If anybody knows why Faust is doing close slash in the opposite direction, even though Soul is, like, clearly behind him, please tell me. I would like to know. I've gotten used to it in this game, but that doesn't mean it's not a problem. Yeah, see, like, that kind of block string is the kind of thing that would make a lot of, maybe not experience, but it would make a lot of pathological Guilty Gear players crack, and Uberpasta is just blocking the entire time. So he got hit at the end there, and it just dealt a lot of damage. Yeah, like, I'm not used to people blocking in this game for that long, but sometimes people do. And honestly, it's weird. The newer you are, the more comfortable you are blocking, because I think people tend to overestimate how good blocking is in this game. Like, it's useful. You gotta establish that you're willing to block, but it's also, like, really, really bad. And if you play the game, then you know how bad blocking is. So, this next match is versus Diner Dash is Goated. I forget, he has a different name in the server, I forget exactly what it was. Anyway, he played against a Potemkin earlier, and I got to watch a Potemkin mirror on stream while I was waiting for my match to start. And he starts off with some good old Potemkin buttons, pushes me into the corner and everything. Megafist goes clean over the bomb bag. You'd think a big body character like Potemkin would have a hard time avoiding that, but he actually doesn't. And he can also flick it too, and I'm just getting my teeth caved in here. Getting command grab, or getting anti-aired from half screen, getting unblockable. I decide to gamble on Force Break Chop, and because Potemkin's so big, it's actually easy to combo him even if I miss by dash input. He's kind enough to get poison, and kind enough to let me go through this entire thing without bursting. So this is actually a pretty reasonable comeback, given all the free damage I got from the poison. He does some of the loosest Oki I've ever seen. I decide to do a Force Break Pogo, and suddenly, it's actually looking pretty good for me. This guy's also really good at blocking overheads, by the way. I try to do 6H like 3 or 4 times, and he blocks it every time. And he tries to do something to challenge the backwards pogo. That's actually invincible, did you know that? Yeah, and at this point, I'm just trying to fiend and fish for data. Like, is he actually blocking all of these? I take a little bit of damage from the bomb, but not a ton, fortunately, and then Force Break Door bails me out. Which is good, because he had a ton of meter, and any hit absolutely would have killed me. I don't know how I won the first round, and I don't know why he's not teching forward. Every Potemkin player on the face of the earth that I've ever played against techs forward out of hit stun. Every single time. Like, it's reliable. I could set my watch by it. But this guy's a bit different. He plays Potemkin a bit differently. Yeah, and he's blocked every 6H so far, so that's just me trying to end the block string. Maybe get a bit of damage, but no, at this point, like, I need to do something else as a mix-up option. And you can see him doing 6K there. That looks kind of silly, but it's actually not that dumb, because 6K and Slide Head share a startup animation. So it's actually kind of a way for him to feint Slide Head. There you go. Yeah, you can see, right? He's just alternating between them, and like, it's actually a lot of visual noise. I'm trying to figure, like, is he going to mash throw? Is he going to do this or that? Yeah, that was actually a terrible item super. But no, his defense is very, very good. Like, this guy has extremely good defense. And the hammer bails me out there. I think basically any item would have won that for me, because he was going for the combo, but the hammer was very fast, so that was nice. Round 2, I feel good about having sort of cheesed my way into... Sorry, round 2, game 2. I feel good about having cheesed my way out of the first round, so I'm just trying to do stuff that's like pretty simple, pretty safe. Keep it by the book, put items on the screen, make Pot's life miserable, don't get hit by Slide Head. I don't know what that far slash was supposed to accomplish. I guess I thought he would only single jump. Potemkin 5H, pretty good button. Fortunately, the mini actually screwed up his approach with Hammerfall there. He had to go for the jump instead of just hammer falling forward twice. This guy's also doing a pretty... Well, I'm getting out of the corner because of my techs. And I'm panicking on defense because I'm worried about Pot Buster, right? Which is giving him all of this free damage through frame traps and jump ins, because I'm not looking for jump ins. And then he finally confirms into air Pot Buster. I do the 6PH throw OS there. We both take a bit of chip damage. And yeah, I tried to do run up 2k because I thought he was going to do some kind of poke and I wanted something active. But yeah, I think maybe spaced 5H would have been a better option there. Again, trying to cheese on the pogo, trying to anti-air a gigantic move with something that's a little bit too weak. I think that flicker of FD you saw was, again, the 6PH throw OS, which, I mean, it helps, it's nice. And at this point, I was telling you earlier about how I was trying to suss out his defensive options with 6H. You saw him do 6k there like twice in a row and then just stop. I think that's him trying to figure out my defensive options. Unfortunately, I wasn't really in the state of mind in the game to realize that and to like vary my defense. But unfortunately, that does kind of pay off for him. Or unfortunately for me. Fortunately for him. So, this is the third and final game of this set. I got a nice combo there. I actually messed it up a little bit. I was supposed to get 2S there instead of 5k, but he bursts anyway. And he whiffs basically his entire burst. Or no, he had a little bit of it. That's fine. I try to go for 5D there. I don't know why. I'm way too far out of range. And I get the double flower extension on Potemkin because he's big. And thank you plus R Jesus for allowing that to clash. Sometimes I'm disappointed by the hitbox on drill. Okay, that's me panicking on defense. Ignore drill, whatever. It's drill. You know how it is. I spend a dead angle there just to get him off my face. Yeah, you see? 6k fainted, and I thought, oh, okay, he whiffed Slide Head, I can land, but he did not whiff Slide Head. And I'm just, at this point, I'm like really, really rattled by him just jumping at me. Because Potemkin is one of those characters who should be easy to anti-air, because he's so big and slow, but when he just jumps at you like that and does a downward move like Jump S, I find it very difficult to deal with. And this OTGs, so he recovers first, and I'm actually punishable. And he gets Potbuster. And because I made that one mistake, he gets all this Potbuster Oki and drains all my meter. Although I do get to get the item game going a little bit now. Technically, you can actually, if you do that correctly, I'm not sure if I was close enough to the corner for this, you can actually set up a match practical infinite on Potemkin if you get the chance to do slice and dice or hack and slash into the meteors. It sort of screws up the way the game calculates hit stun and gravity, and you can just stick him in this infinite loop where he's on the ground and you're just OTGing him with pogo flower, and then he gets dragged out of the corner a little bit, you push him back into the corner, and you just repeat that loop forever. It's a match practical infinite, and it is allowed, but I wasn't really I'm not at the point of the matchup where I do match practical infinites. So I'm just messing around on pogo. I get off there pretty fast. And thank you, God, for having 10 frames of active frames on 2K. It's such a good move. I don't know how what I did beat Mega Fist there, but that was probably another minus dive kick, so we mashed throw. And at this point, I see poison and I think, great, that is free damage. I don't need to worry about that at all. Unfortunately, he gets almost all of it back because of the donut, but the meteors are coming in and he tries to flick them like a cool guy, and he just gets hit by all of them. So now it's final game, final round of the set. We both have all our bursts, and I decide to burst early. I whiff it completely, get counter hit on the way down because I'm mashing. And finally, after like, I swear to God, it's like 20 knockdowns, finally he goes for Potbuster. Instead of doing like frame traps into nothing or 6k, finally he goes for Potbuster. I was terrified of Potbuster the entire time, and finally he goes for it. He goes loose immediately afterwards, but, you know, props to him for knowing how to structure his offense. Props to Coin for saving me from that combo, because I probably would have died. I think, yeah. Yeah, so that was just him doing 6k, and I was mentally input lagging, and I was thinking about stand blocking, and then I saw him do basically any animation, and I thought, oh, I should stand up. And the thing I stood up for was 5k, which is a low. So there you go. Well played to Diner Dash is goated. I disagree. I hate meal services, but you won, so might makes right. Until next week, or until I play him next, Diner Dash is in fact goated. I know that when I make my ramble videos, I try to keep them short, and I generally go overtime. And if you were not expecting an hour and 10 minutes of me talking about matches and stuff, then I do apologize for that. I know that a lot of people prefer the more structured videos I make, but due to a variety of things that had been happening in my personal life, those kinds of structured videos were impractical to make. Fortunately, I am in a better situation to make them now, and I am moving forward on the collaboration with That Blasted Salami. So, I don't know, sometime before the end of the year, or maybe sometime early next year, you can expect those Exerd character overview videos. Aside from that, I do have a couple projects that I want to focus on for those structured videos. If you've paid attention to Guilty Gear on YouTube, you may have noticed that there are a few people who are trying their hands at the, I guess, Guilty Gear, I don't want to call it a video essay, but making similar structured videos about Guilty Gear and about balance. Mostly they're copying Moldy Bagel because he's super popular. He makes videos like that for Dragon Ball FighterZ. They're a little bit more meme-tastic than mine, but they are pretty good. So if you enjoy watching fighting game analysis, then I definitely recommend checking out Moldy Bagel. And if you want to hear about Potemkin in this game and Potemkin in Exerd, then you can go look up, I believe it's Frankentank, and you can look up videos about why Potemkin is bad in Exerd and why Potemkin is good or broken, in fact, in Accent Core. Spoilers, he gets to loop unblockables. Anyway, that's everything that I wanted to say and everything that I have said. So if you actually watched through this entire thing, then thank you very much. And if this looked like fun, then please head over to the Discord server for Snowfield and sign up and join the challenge. It'll be nice to have more people. It's a pretty chill bracket, and there's a pretty good mixture of mid-level players like me, extremely good players like Jason, and noobs like, well, newbies like Uber Pasta. Sorry, Uber Pasta. I love you, but you are new, so I do have to make fun of you.